Welcome back to Spirit of an Athlete. I'm your host, Amanda Smith. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and hopefully, you've caught some other ones. If you have, please like, subscribe, share with others because this podcast needs your support. On this episode, I interview Zaara Abbas. She's the first Pakistan female coach for rowing. She's also the first Pakistan to compete internationally in rowing. And she's the first Pakistani female official for world rowing. She got to go to South Africa in 2023 to do that. We will talk about Zaara's condition, PCOS, and how that's played out in her journey as a rower, a rowing coach, and an official. Hopefully, she will inspire you on her journey as a female in rowing living in Pakistan. I hope you enjoy this episode. Zaara, thank you so unbelievably much for saying yes to being on the podcast with me today and really giving us an idea about your journey as an athlete as well as your journey as a coach because, well, you're the first female coach in Pakistan for rowing. That's kind of a big deal.
It's pretty cool. I didn't realize it till much later, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you've also officiated at the world level.
Yes. So I am, again, the first female in Pakistan to become a world rowing official. So I officiate at a world rowing level. So that's great. That's two
Yeah.
firsts in my book.
And of course, you're a rowing athlete as well. And now that you're older, you're in the master's
Yep.
level for rowing. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. That's right.
Okay. So set us up for me so we can dive into some of your athlete journey around PCOS. As far as being an athlete, a female athlete in Pakistan, give us a little story on what that looks like.
It wasn't that difficult. And I come from very, let's say in Pakistan, I come from a privileged background where I am allowed to compete in sport and I have my family support. And I am in a circle that encourages women to be in sport. But even then, even with all of that on my side, we still face a lot of issues. Like, let's say, for example, in Pakistan, this thing that women shouldn't be muscular or they shouldn't be in sports or, in male dominated sports or spend too much time in the sun because the skin becomes dark or whatever. And I faced a lot of issues because I've always been sporty. I've always been in sports. I've always been strong, not skinny. I've never had a skinny frame, but I've always been strong. And I wasn't fat as a person, right? But because I was very muscular my whole life, I've dealt with issues like, oh, you're so black, or you look like a man, or you act like a man. And I'm just like, dude, what? It's not that deep. And women should be allowed to do different things. I shouldn't just have to sit indoors and like watch TV or read books. I am an athlete. I enjoy it. I like it. I love being strong. And if other people are threatened by it, that's their problem. Um, but for a while in the middle, I did stop rowing because I did succumb to that pressure where people kept saying, oh, you're acting like a man, you look like a man, or your skin's too dark. And it started to affect me. I started to get anxiety. I started to get depressed a little bit. And I stopped rowing completely. I stopped working out completely. And I can say that was the worst year of my life. When I gave up sports, awful. I got depressed. I stopped meeting people. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to work. Didn't want to study. I did nothing. I literally did nothing. And then it was actually my parents, my mother more, who kind of pushed me. She said, why don't you just do something, do something, do something? And then eventually my do something led back to rowing. So in many ways, rowing did save my life because initially when I started rowing through school, I had the worst eating disorder I've ever had. I was bulimic. I was at the same time anorexic. And then I went to this stage where I would just do these feminine workouts like Pilates and yoga. And I was like, that's not easy though. Pilates is hard. But because it's
And yoga is hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. When I started doing yoga, when I gave up rowing, started doing yoga, I was like, what is happening? Because this is hard. But, and then I stopped eating a lot of stuff. And again, I was literally bulimic. I was throwing up all the time. So I was unhealthy. And people kept telling me, oh, you look so good. Oh, you look so good. And I'm just like, dude, but I feel like crap. And then after that is when I went rowing just as a school module to see what's up. And that changed my life because I became obsessed with being strong and muscular and being better than everyone else. And I started eating again. I started eating healthy. I didn't, I started working out. I was in the sun getting my vitamin D. And since then, I never stopped, never looked back, never stopped working out, didn't stop rowing unless I was forced to, which we'll come to. But it is very difficult. And I come from a privileged background. So what other women go through is much worse. I had friends who completely stopped playing sports after school because they thought, oh, we have to be dainty now. We have to be ladylike. We can't be in sports. We can't do the same things the boys do. And a lot of them got married off right after school because it's Pakistan, right? So that there is still an inherent culture that a woman is meant to just be a wife and be a mother.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So we have in the US, there are similar beliefs, but I feel like it's way more prevalent in Pakistan where women are a little more suppressed from a cultural dynamic.
Yeah.
And to hear that you've gone through these struggles, I'm like, yeah, I've gone through these struggles too, and I'm in the United States. I've gone through the struggle of being told you look too masculine. I've never been told you have too much sun. Usually that's praised upon here.
Uh,
But also acting more masculine, acting like a dude, right? In fact, the second podcast with Christina Speckos, we address that in that podcast. So I want to flag that here. Like, we've definitely talked about that piece of the puzzle in this podcast because it is a thing that female athletes have to deal with. In Pakistan, though, it's more of a Muslim society, correct?
I would say it is bit worse in South Asia, not just Pakistan. Know that a lot of women in India and Sri Lanka go through similar struggles. I know of athletes in South Asia, and we all share similar experiences, especially I think in South Asia and subcontinent specifically, we're told from the time we're born that, oh, you have this is your role. You're a wife and you're a mother. And men are just supposed to be stronger than you or your caretakers or whatever. And it kind of seeps into your subconscious and it takes a lot. It takes a lot to actually break that thought process in your brain that no, I can do what I want. It doesn't make me less woman. It just makes my interests different. And that's okay.
It makes you more woman. It makes you a fierce feminine woman, a strong woman. And for some people, that's intimidating.
It is intimidating.
And in your society where the man leads, the man is the caretaker, the provider, he's the one who is paying for everything, and the woman stays home and takes care of the children, doesn't have a job most of the time. Yeah, I could see where this dichotomy is going to butt heads. There's going to be some dynamics that you're pushing that other men are going to go, I'm not
Yeah.
comfortable with that. And other women are even going to say the same thing, seeing that you are a female athlete.
And the funny thing about that is it's not even that women don't work. It's first of all, housework and child raising children is unpaid labor. Second of all, women
Always.
do work, but it's in a more traditionally feminine roles, like let's say a teacher, a housekeeper, or something along those lines. And that's not easy, but for some reason seen as demeaning work. And I feel like this is a world over a lot. We haven't progressed as a human race overall. Women are still seen as the gatherers and men as the hunters. It's sad.
There's something to be said for that when it comes to how our brains are designed, that lizard part of our brain, and the whole hunter-gatherer piece that you just brought up, it's so true, but at the same time, we have to evolve and we have to meet our modern society. And I would agree. I feel like Pakistan is slightly behind the United States, not saying that the United States is on the right track by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely seems like the woman has to have that traditional female, quote,
Yeah.
unquote, role where she's the caretaker for the children, and her work in the world will revolve around that.
Yeah.
She has to take care of the home, and any work that she does will revolve around that. Yeah, I love that you point that out, thank you. Okay, so on your athletic journey, you found out that you have PCOS, correct?
Yes.
How has that affected you as an athlete?
So I didn't always have PCOS. I didn't know I had it when I went to England for university and I started rowing. I think the food there is very different. So the milk has higher hormone content. And when I started to eat English food and when I started to eat like the produce there, it started to change my body a lot. And I started to put on weight and I started to put on weight excessively really fast. I didn't understand what was going on because my diet has never been unhealthy, specifically unhealthy. And I was growing and working out a lot more in England than I do in Pakistan because there you're walking everywhere. I was rowing before class, after class. And that was the best shape I've ever been in my life. And at the same time, I kept putting on weight. And when I came back to Pakistan, I started to get hot flashes. And that was weird, right? Because when you're like 24, you shouldn't be getting hot flashes. And my mom, I think, figured it out and she told me to start having evening primrose oil in those little capsules. And that helped a little bit. But then I started going to the doctor. I got my ultrasounds and I found out I have PCOS. And I was like, okay, but what is that and how do I fix it? And for the most part, they were just like, oh, you don't have to do anything about it. You know, it's fine, whatever, come back when you want to get pregnant. And I was like, what? But I'm gaining weight like a crazy person. And especially in my stomach region. And in rowing, when you're like going forward and you're not able to actually get that full stretch, it affects your entire workout. So I got really upset. And I was like, but you're not helping me. So how do I lose weight? Oh, just walk. And I would tell the doctors, I do a lot more than walk. And they're like, oh, you're probably overeating. So I told them, this is my diet. And they're like, okay, that's not possible. You're probably eating something else. I'm like, no, this is my legitimate diet. This is what I eat on a daily basis. And then they're like, oh, what? You should just walk and you'll be fine. And then I would tell them my workout. I was like, first of all, I coach. So I work out in the morning before work. And then I have to work out in the evenings after work just to keep up my strength and stamina. And they would be like, oh, yeah, that's not even possible. First of all, no one works out that much. And if you were working out that much, you would lose weight. I'm just like, what are you saying right now? I am not able to lose weight. And it didn't help that I'm one of the very few female coaches. At that time, I think I was still the only female coach. Yeah. So it didn't help that I was surrounded by men who, again, these are the men I've grown up with. These are my fellow athletes. But then they started pointing out, oh, you're getting fat, you're getting fat, you're getting fat. I'm like, okay, but dude, can you stop? Can you just don't talk about my body? But they wouldn't get it. And they would poke fun at me and my weight gain. Eventually, that led to me just getting really disgruntled. I wanted to leave the sport. And I did for a few months. I would go very rarely. I would instead work out at the gym away from the club. And even at the gym, like the trainers would come tell me, oh, you know, you're not working out right. You're probably not eating right. And they weren't my trainers, by the way. They're just random, unsolicited comments coming my way where they would constantly come and tell me about how I'm just gaining weight and not doing something right. So with that, I started writing about it on Instagram in my captions. And I would write about, okay, this is my PCOS, this is why I'm gaining weight, and I shouldn't need to explain it, but here I am. And then when COVID happened, I started gaining a lot of weight because I was not able to work out. We were at home all the time. And I think everyone kind of became really lazy because you're not moving much at all. And when I started documenting my journey, I had a lot of women reach out to me and say, oh my gosh, thank you for talking about this because we're going through the same thing.
Hmm.
In fact, recently, about a few days ago, one of the coaches at Book Club, where I'm also a coach, she told me that people just don't understand. They keep talking about my weight and they talk about it in front of my students. And it's really frustrating to me because she's fit and she is strong and she's good at what she does. So why should her weight matter? It really affects a person's self-esteem. And I'm already struggling. I'm already having difficulty with losing weight, with losing fat, not weight, with losing fat. I'm already having trouble with various aspects, like I'm not getting my period on time. Like it's frustrating for me. I'm dealing with a lot of issues. And then on top of that, when someone's constantly poking fun at my weight, it's not okay. And it makes it really difficult as a woman in a male dominated field to keep going. It takes a lot of emotional push, from yourself. So I'm really glad I started documenting it. And now we have like a group of women who will talk to each other about it. And at the club, now that I'm senior and I know them really well, I started to tell all the men, stop, don't talk about anyone's body, especially a child, because if you're constantly telling children, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, they're going to end up with eating disorders. They're going to end up with mental health issues. So we, as coaches and just as masters rowers or older athletes, have to be very careful with our words.
I completely agree. This is something that I don't know that male coaches really fully grasp this when they start to talk about the way that an athlete looks. And it's funny because I'm sitting here thinking about an instance that just happened to me recently where I had one of the dads that I'm coaching his daughter in softball. And he said to me, "It looks like you're losing weight." And I was like, "Well, the scale's not saying the same thing. So thanks, I guess." Inappropriate.
It's not necessary.
Exactly, exactly, and I think he was going for a compliment, and when it landed as it wasn't a compliment, oops, and he felt bad, I knew right away he felt bad. It boggles my mind that that is something that needs to be addressed when these people know day in and day out you are working out.
Yeah,
They're there seeing you. They know that you're putting in this effort, and yet your body is not accepting what you're putting in. As I get older, I'm experiencing this as an athlete also. And it's so frustrating to
it's
watch
so
your body
frustrating.
change and gain and you're still doing the same, like you're eating really healthy and really clean and you're doing all of the things that you're supposed to be doing, but there's something else going on. And I know for me, it's partially gut health, partially some of these hormones that are shifting in my body, but for you on this PCOS journey, when was it an aha moment that this was hormonally based?
I actually went to what my friends told me. So I have this girl group as everyone does. And I started telling my friends that, okay, this is happening. And I haven't got my period for like 5 months. What's going on? And one of my friends referred me to an endocrinologist. And she's like, why don't you go speak to her? Because this sounds like PCOS. So this woman had me do a bunch of tests, like so many. I don't even know how many, but I got all my blood work done, everything. And then in the end, she's like, this is the issue. And unfortunately, she gave me glucophage, which is, I think, any woman with PCOS who has been to a doctor has been prescribed that world over. It's not even just a Pakistan thing. And I was on that for like a year and nothing happened. I was like, this is not working. And then I had to do my own research and figure it out myself. I tried, different things and different things to balance my hormones. Nothing really worked. And what has worked is since I came back from South Africa in September, I stopped like everything, anything that had an ounce of hormone in it. I even cut down eating chicken because apparently chicken has more hormones in it than beef and fish. And that is what has actually helped me. So I cut down my dairy, cut down my chicken, cut down on different things. And I dropped weight. Like I dropped weight. I feel that my face has changed. And there's a lot of things you have to do for PCOS, so I spoke to my head coach about it. And he actually understood. He's like, okay, hormone-ish, cool. I don't know the details, don't need to know the details, but okay, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. So then we figured out, okay, I need to do very slow weighted workouts, less cardio, more weighted workouts, slower, steady pace. And he's like, okay, cool, cool. You don't do the sprint, you do long pulling, you just do 10 kilometers and do it slowly, but with power. And he just got it, right? He has been one of my, biggest supporters, because when everyone back in the day was like, oh, you're becoming too muscular, you're becoming a man, he would just go like, so what? You know, I'll make you want to be a man, I'll make you a man, start lifting weights, He and he doesn't speak English very well. So in his own way, he was telling me it doesn't matter. You need to be strong. That's what matters. You need to be good, you need to be fast. You just need to be good. Screw what everyone else is saying. And even when,
Nice.
like, he's been one of the biggest, honestly, been one of my biggest supporters. Even when I remember another coach was poking fun of my weight, he literally went like, he got mad. He told me stop. And then he gave them a penalty. He was like, go to like 2K on the URL. So, and I still remember this. And this is what I try to do with anyone I'm coaching, or even if I'm not coaching, just to empower people around me. It's not just about PCOS, right? Because women go through PCOS, but men go through something else as well. Maybe that's undiagnosed, but they also start gaining weight, especially after a certain age. So you can't be poking fun at people. I have PCOS, so if someone says something to me, it hurts me. You don't know what another person is going through. So when the coaches or anyone, or any of the students go like, oh, but he's a boy, so I can say it to him. Like, no, you can't. That
Nope.
doesn't make it right.
Oh man, I completely agree. Testosterone is an issue for men. As they get older, the testosterone drops, and that creates more estrogen, which creates more weight. And you never know when that's going to take over in your body. It's, that we have the doctor's averages, right? We have plenty of data to figure out what the average is. But does that mean that it 45 years old and from there on, right? That's not how it works. Every body is different. Every person's body responds differently. And people just should be kind. That's what it boils down to, just be kind. If you would say that to yourself, be kinder to yourself. If you would say that to another human, look back on yourself. That's always my
Yeah.
advice. It's always a mirror when we're spewing negativity out into the world. What do you not like in yourself first? Mm. Okay, Zara, as a coach, what are some of the beautiful trends that you're seeing in Pakistan? Are we seeing more women rowing? Are we seeing more female athletes?
So the rowing scene in Pakistan is actually getting really good. I remember when I started rowing, this is like in 2008, we thought we were good, but we were so bad compared to the kids now. Now, I think because a lot of us rowers and athletes have turned into coaches or have become part of the rowing fraternity, we will keep pushing each other to do it, even if it's virtual. So there are a lot of virtual regattas that happen, and we try to take part in all of them. There is training all year round. We even have now a school of students who are blind and deaf rowing, which is great, which is just a big leap in terms of rowing in Pakistan and rowing in the world, because you need all types of athletes. Everyone's allowed to play sports, right? Everyone's allowed to be included. So the inclusivity of it is increasing. There's a lot more masters athletes, because at that time we were all kids and now we're all above 27, we're all old. So we're competing internationally,
Well,
and it, well, there,
masters in my sport 40, not 20 something.
so it's, when I did my first masters, I was like, oh my God, what is this? But there is a lot more happening. There are a lot more female coaches, which is great to see. There's a lot more female athletes. There's younger athletes, there's older athletes, and there's athletes of all shapes and sizes. So I really enjoy seeing how inclusive it's becoming. In fact, it's become so big, just the rowing circle, that recently we had an iftar regatta, and a lot of us just stayed back because it got overcrowded. And there was too many people who were like, okay, maybe let's just let the kids do this and we'll kind of take a step back. So that's great. That is, I don't think that's ever happened before.
I love that you're at the forefront of all of these things that you're talking about. You're at the forefront. You were the first female rower to row internationally. You were the first female coach. You had PCOS, so you were seeing different shapes and sizes not around you until later. I mean, you were literally at the forefront of every single one of those things in Pakistan. I love that. I love that you're seeing this growth so that you feel like you're not the only one anymore. You're not the only female. You're not the only
I'm not
female
the only
coach.
female.
You're not the only one going international. You're not the only one that's gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight.
And I'm not, and the best part of all of this is there's a, an entire like batch of kids who are just so much better than I am. And I never was. And it's like, okay, let's go.
Mhm. That's when you know the sport is growing. I see
Yeah.
that in softball with my kids too. It's phenomenal to watch how much more access they have to coaching, how much more access they have to information so that they can grow their game in the skill area faster. I really, really think that the way to also go, and I can't stress this one enough as I do this podcast more and more, is the mental side and really learning how to coach that. That piece of the puzzle is huge and a game changer when all the kids end up having the same level of skill at some
Yeah.
point.
It's so different
Mm.
coaching someone who's just brand new and then training someone who's rowing to go international or rowing to compete and at a really large scale. It's so different. And they're both so fun. I started coaching masters last year, and that's completely different because I'm not coaching kids anymore. I'm coaching people who are way older than me. And you have to talk to them in a specific way because with adults, if if you say something they don't like, they're just gonna like turn around and be like, don't talk to me like that. I'm not gonna do that. And I get taken aback. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. What I meant to say was, could you please pick up your oars and put them back?
Oh, don't sass me, don't disrespect me, right? Oh, I love that. Zara, I wanna have more conversations with you around this because I think there is definitely more to unpack. At the same time, I would love to hear where people can reach out to you, talk to you, connect with you around rowing, around coaching, around all of the things that you do.
I'm fairly active on Instagram. It's at Zara with a ZAARA_KA. I'm the one who has rowing in her profile, so you'll find me easily. And yeah, reach out. Let me know if you want to talk, if you want to collaborate on anything, if you want to have a virtual regatta internationally, or just, anything. Let's talk. Let's connect.
Drop into your DMs. Her link for Instagram will be in the show notes, you guys. So thank you so much coming on Spirit of an Athlete and sharing your experience as a Pakistani rower that's a female with PCOS.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Hey.
Thanks for listening to Spirit of an Athlete podcast. If you're struggling with your own gut issues and want more direction, you can get an initial body scan from Amanda at bodywhisperhealing.com. In 20 minutes, you can find out what's wrong, get clarity, map a path forward, and get on track to get back in your game. If this episode hits the spot, please let us know by rating, reviewing, and sharing it with a friend. Subscribe now to hear more inspiring stories from other female college athletes who overcame their health issues. Want more, Amanda? Get inspired by finding more at bodywhisperhealing.com.